A mother's pain unites hundreds. On this day a year ago, Noelle Dickson lost her daughter to a man who'd killed before.
I think I've been a bit numb for the past, 9, 10 months, and now it's all starting to hit home that this is real and she isn't coming home.
22-year-old Sarah Cafferty was stabbed to death by convicted murderer Stephen James Hunter just days after he finished serving parole. The Victorian government argues it has the toughest parole laws in the country. Noelle Dickson says more can be done.
Demand change to our justice system in the hope of keeping our communities safe.
Sandra Betts lost her daughter Rachel to a double killer who was also in the community on parole.
We have people who can't be rehabilitated, who are a serious danger. We need to know that.
Less than a month after his contempt of court conviction over Jill Maher's murder case, DERRYN HINCH joined the rally.
We should have a public register of all convicted sex offenders. They have it in other countries.
Today's march marks the beginning of Victims of Crime Awareness Week. There'll be a forum for those living with unsolved cases, and a memorial service will be held next Sunday. And while families are pleading for more action, the state government argues its recent reforms are enough.
We've abolished home detention. We've abolished suspended sentences.
The changes come too late for some families. Miriam Burrows, 10 Eyewitness News.
I just started screaming.
A brave brother waving a weapon he never thought he'd need.
Well, I just grabbed it and then I ran to the front where the gates were, and I just started screaming help, and then I was pretending I was going to hit them and whatever.
Gabriel was forced to defend his 7-year-old sister and grandmother against 2 violent thieves.
My brother is a hero.
The men broke into his 80-year-old grandmother's home and terrorised her, forcing her to run next door for help.
What's your name? Don't smack me. Don't kill me. And I pulled me in the jumper and put me in the backyard.
And then when she turned around, the guy was behind her with the black hoodie, and he pushed her, and then he grabbed her and he threw her out, and then he locked the door on her.
Despite being terrified, he grabbed a bat from his parents' room and hid his sister.
I went upstairs and then I was like, he's hiding the bed.
The men had dumped a stolen car in the street after writing it off and appeared to be desperately trying to replace it.
Pretty much right-hand side is all, non-existent, and the bonnet up over the windscreen and, pretty much trashed.
The men ransacked this house. They stole paperwork and a handful of keys. They then tried to use these keys to break into this ute before they gave up and both fled on foot. The police dog squad and air wings swept the area, capturing 1 man, but the second remains at large. Miriam Maghrabi, 10 Eyewitness News. The lines snaked through Burke Street Mall and the shoppers patiently waited for hours.
So we turned up at 6:30 last night.
I had 3 hours of sleep.
About 500 people queued outside David Jones and up to 600 lined up outside MYER. Some came for the bargains.
I want bright orange gym boots.
Some for the free breakfast, others lured by department store vouchers. MYER had something extra up its sleeve.
I have a $50 LED 3D smart TV.
Finally, the wait was over.
1, 3, 2, 1.
And a stampede of bargain hunters was unleashed. Televisions and headphones were popular, so were homewares and clothes.
I'm a dancer, so I need stuff like this. So, get jiggy with it.
Absolutely thrilled. The crowds this morning are bigger than we've seen for many, many years.
The key to shopping in the sales, have a strategy.
We like to get here before everyone else does, and so by the time we're finished, everyone's only just starting to arrive.
Australians are on track to spend almost $2 billion today alone. That's up 5.5% on last year. Victorians will fork out the most. They'll hand over more than $600 million to retailers.
And in the week leading up to New Year's Eve, there'll be $5.9 billion spent. So Australians are re-embracing a little retail therapy.
While the diehards sidelined their computers today, online shoppers didn't disappoint. Retailers say they'll spend $344 million in Australia. That sales rush crippling MYER's website. But even the in-store frenzy proved all a bit too much for some. Miriam Burrows, 10 Eyewitness News. A stunning sight for neighbours this morning. A hot air balloon looking for a car park at a block of flats.
So the guys was hovering about 10 meters up above the buildings and trying frantically to start the burners.
The blast of a burner and a drop-in neighbours weren't expecting on a Sunday morning.
Whoa, this is happening in Carlisle Street, right outside, you know, right in our backyard.
With 21 years' experience under his belt, the pilot landed the balloon safely.
Completely incident-free landing, all had a fantastic time.
10 people on board calmly walked away from the basket, all uninjured.
Was it a good ride? Yeah. It was fun.
Oh, very exciting. Chris is very, very good at precision landing.
And the passengers weren't alone in their praise.
I think it's testament to the skill of the pilot. He's pretty much put the basket down where he wanted to and chose a parking spot here in the car park.
The balloon was due to land 5 kilometres away when a change in wind direction made that impossible. The pilot then tried to land at a nearby garden but ran out of options and had to quickly settle for this car park. While the calm conditions helped the pilot land safely, police believe the light winds actually sparked the emergency.
I think it was just because of the light nature of the conditions, the very fickle wind that was causing the problems here today. Like, if it had been a bit stronger, they probably would have made their destination without any problems.
The balloon's unscheduled arrival anything but a letdown. Miriam Burrows, 10 Eyewitness News. The frenzy has begun. It's the last weekend for shoppers to buy gifts for Christmas.
I love it. Actually, I love the craziness.
And it's a gift to retailers.
Well, this is potentially the biggest weekend of the year. We expect Australians across the country to spend something like $3 billion this weekend and another $1.2 billion before Christmas Eve.
Most of the money will be spent in-store.
If it's last-minute gifts, you want to be able to look, see, touch and feel, and we think that's why people will come into store to buy their gifts.
Many shoppers opting for a marathon spending spree.
We'll just be staying here until it's all done, so however long that takes.
But there are still a few last-minute spenders turning to the internet. More than $300 million will be spent online this weekend. That's not worrying retailers.
At this time of year, we get over 1 million people to walk through the stores every day leading up to Christmas.
Retailers say shoppers in New South Wales, Victoria and Queensland will be the big spenders this weekend, making up 75% of the spending splurge. And on average, each person will spend $131 on Christmas treats. But many say they spend much more than that. Did you have a budget?
I did, and walking around here, I've sort of decided that's out the window.
Sometimes we always go to smidge over that, but that's okay. You know, when you find the perfect present.
And it's a good thing it only comes once a year. Miriam Burrows, 10 Eyewitness News. There were cheers, hugs and tears of joy for thousands of VCE graduates who received their results today.
Very hard-working girl.
It's a very exciting day, it's a very emotional day, and I think we've seen it all here today. So congratulations to the students.
Teenagers across the state logged on or received text messages with their scores from 7 a.m, many over the moon.
I have to look again because I can't believe myself, to be honest. I got 99.55.
99.95, the perfect score.
While others, like Sarah, who was struck down with glandular fever for 7 weeks during the school year, were just surprised.
I'm the youngest of 3, so my older siblings set the bar really high, but luckily I did them all really proud.
But it was the parents who were most excited.
It's just unbelievable. I'm so happy, my happiest day in a long time.
VCE graduates might be celebrating their results today, but for those who've applied for further study, the anxious wait continues until January. 16-year-old Anush has already secured a university scholarship. He's enjoying the celebrity.
Melbourne and Monash Uni called and asking, would you like to come to this function, that function? We'll pay for your taxi ride. If you want a limo, we can organise it for you.
But for those who didn't do as well as they'd hoped.
Don't be disappointed. There are many pathways to get to where you want.
And after working hard all year, the plans for summer are...
Probably a whole lot of nothing.
Time now to celebrate before the next phase begins. Miriam Maghrabi, 10 Eyewitness News. This is not a normal run. For many, the qualifying conditions are the most gruelling of their life. Thousands united by a special bond, breast cancer.
I was diagnosed 3 years ago, and when you see so many people doing something in support of people affected, it's a really special feeling.
Almost 7,000 women either directly or indirectly affected by breast cancer, many sporting pink in solidarity. It's the 28th year that mothers, daughters, sisters and friends have turned out to raise money or just awareness for support services.
Everyone has an auntie, a mum, a sister, a friend who knows someone with a breast cancer diagnosis.
Dads watched from the sidelines as the women took centre stage. Organisers also promoting the benefits of a more active lifestyle.
The fact that it might actually reduce the possibility that the cancer is going to return. So it's an important message about fitness and wellbeing too.
This year, participants have raised more than $220,000 for Breast Cancer Network Australia. That eclipses last year's total of $97,000. And while some use the event as an excuse to get fit, others adopted a less serious approach. Miriam Maghrabi, 10 Eyewitness News. England's cricketers were still attracting fans as they regrouped after the shock retirement of their spinner, who took a barely disguised swipe at teammates. But as a number 11, Swan's replacement was playing a very straight bat.
So I think Swanee's probably, knows who he's referring to, but I think in terms of the dressing room and the teammates, I think we're right behind him.
Drama aside, the test is set to draw record crowds.
The weather's looking fine, high 20s I see on the Bureau's map today, but look, there should be somewhere around 90,000.
Huge crowds at the Boxing Day test have become a tradition, with the 2006 game against England just below the world record. It was one of a series of blockbuster test attendances. Today, fans braved wet weather and lined up outside the G to meet their idols.
Aussie, Aussie, Aussie! Oi, oi, oi!
But many were turned away.
Well, we got in there and then the man says, oh, you can't go past and you can't get the autographs.
But inside, a star attraction. This 15-metre slide is the first of its kind in professional sports stadiums around the world. Children will be able to use it during the Boxing Day test. It'll keep them entertained and give their parents a little break. And while things may be a little rocky for England, the team's faithful fans are not giving up hope.
Yeah, we'll still be singing, we'll still be cheering. It'll take something special, it'll take a big thunderstorm maybe to stop us.
And no doubt, Australian fans are hoping that happens. Miriam Maghrabi, 10 Eyewitness News. A crash that shook a neighbourhood and came close to tragedy.
Basically, it was about 6 o'clock in the morning. I heard a big bang and I got out of bed and then I realised there was a car in the next door neighbour's house.
The car narrowly missed the owner of the house, sleeping just metres away. And neighbours are amazed no one else was hurt.
I felt sick because we've got young children in there and our bedroom is right there.
People are walking their dogs here all the time, so that is a big shock. And it isn't like this neighbourhood not to have people walking at 6:30.
Police say a 23-year-old man lost control of his car in Rowville and rammed into a house. 3 witnesses tried unsuccessfully to stop him running away.
My husband saw the driver trying to get out of the car, climbing over to the passenger seat because he was trapped, and then he saw him start running, so then he tried to chase him down the street.
Before the driver smashed into the house, he clipped a parked car 50 metres away.
If my son's car hadn't been there, he probably would have went through our window.
Neighbours say they're not surprised by this morning's accident. This street is a hotspot for hoons who regularly come careening around this bend at high speeds at all times of day.
Oh, they never stop speeding. Never. They come around that corner like they're in bloody Albert Park.
The owner of the house was too shaken to speak on camera, but said the driver had returned to apologise. Police say he turned himself in and recorded a blood alcohol level of 0.077. Miriam Maghrabi, 10 Eyewitness News. Brandishing a boning knife, the thief storms a family-run business and demands cash. He charges at the owner and his friends when they unexpectedly emerge from a back room. A worker hurls a screwdriver in his direction, but it's a 7-iron that sends him running.
Use these clavers to just hit his hands. I just want to knock off his knife.
Afraid the man would hurt her unarmed husband, Lily grabbed the golf club from behind the counter and began swinging.
I'm scared of knife, or maybe, touch my husband.
I think so. It's my hero. Yeah, it's my hero.
The club was often used by Jack to relieve boredom on quiet days. Last Saturday afternoon, it sent the attacker fleeing.
I think he's scary with this one. Is this so live?
But police would have preferred a call to 000.
I certainly wouldn't recommend what they did. It was very dangerous.
Jack and Lily say they're not shaken by the robbery. They used to own an inner-city business and are used to hold-ups. They do say they're surprised the confrontation happened here in Mornington, where they know many of their customers and have enjoyed a peaceful existence for 4 years. The man left fingerprints during his hasty escape.
It appears to be Caucasian, slim build, 177 centimetres tall.
And should she need to again,
I have to support each other. Yeah.
I think my wife is my hero.
Lily won't hesitate to defend her husband. Miriam Burrows, 10 Eyewitness News. Spirits were high despite a dismal tour. The England cricket team's loudest and proudest fans didn't let disappointment cloud their celebrations. They gathered in their hundreds to enjoy the festivities and forget about the team's on- and off-field losses.
Try not to think too much about what's gone on in the past. You know, tomorrow is another day.
And many clung to a glimmer of hope for tomorrow's Boxing Day test.
We're going to win the next 2.
While the Army celebrated in style indoors, other expats and tourists had a different idea of what a true Aussie Christmas should be like. While some missed out on a spot,
Couldn't get tickets to the Barney Army, so we have to do our own thing.
others didn't mind.
Why aren't you with the Barney Army?
I don't know where they are.
But most agreed the beach was a good alternative to a European winter.
I don't want to go there, it's freezing. We've got the beach, we've got the ocean, it's lovely.
And across the country it was the same story. Expat Santas littered the sand. Not all were sold on the traditional Aussie holiday feast.
People keep trying to give me prawns, I want some turkey.
And gravy.
Where's my cranberry sauce?
But the view received a unanimous tick of approval. Miriam Maghrabi, 10 Eyewitness News. It's hard to believe the driver of this car walked away from the crash. Police say the woman aged in her 70s clipped a parked truck. The force of the impact flipped her car onto its roof. The crash was a rude awakening for residents.
The collision was massive. We were just in bed having a sleep and it woke up the whole neighbourhood. Everyone just came running.
In the initial confusion, the sight of a baby seat in the back startled rescuers, but it turned out to be a false alarm.
Oh, I'm happy she got out of the wreckage. When I turned up, I saw the other side of the car. I couldn't see the driver's side, and I was worried there was a passenger in it because there wasn't much room in the passenger side.
An off-duty paramedic came to the woman's aid after hearing a loud bang. She managed to walk away with just cuts and bruises, and neighbours say she appeared to be in fine spirits.
A silly old driver, I shouldn't be driving as it is. She was saying that while she's stuck upside down in the car, but as she was climbing out of the car, she was laughing with the paramedics.
Police suspect driver distraction caused the crash.
It's concentrating on driving, and if that had been happening today, we wouldn't be here. So, you know, it's just a warning to everyone, just concentrate on what you're doing all the time.
And while the woman managed an unlikely escape, the same couldn't be said for the vehicles involved. Miriam Maghrabi, 10 Eyewitness News.